one team, one vision, one goal. An interplanetary travel to look for extraterrestrial life in the nearest galaxy. A flyby mission of a planet outside of our solar system, starting and ending within a human's lifetime. This is E.X.P.L.R.E. We are Knie, consisting of 16 international multidisciplinary students representing 9 countries, enrolled in the master's degree of the International Space University, ISU, in Strasbourg, France. Our mission is called E.X.P.L.R.E, which stands for Solar-Proof Laser Propelled at Relativistic Speed. Our goal is to use direct energy to accelerate thousands of small proofs to 20% the speed of light. Within only a few decades, they will reach Proxima b, an exoplanet orbiting the closest star to our Sun, Proxima Centauri. So welcome one more day to the Knie podcast. Today we will talk a little bit about the ground segment on the E.X.P.L.R.E mission. Because of this, we have Julia Knie. Welcome, Julia.
Hi, Andrea. Thank you for the invitation.
How are you?
I'm good, and you?
Very good, thank you. So, can you tell us a little bit about your professional background? We are very interested.
Sure. So, I studied physics in my bachelor's degree at the University of Vienna in Austria, and I also did classical archaeology.
Wow, what a mix! That's incredible.
Yeah, it has something to do with another. If you go into the details, then you can figure out some connections between those study paths. But other than that, not really. But I knew that I wanted to go into space research later on, and that's why I'm here at ISU now.
That's incredible. Okay, so welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Vale, so we are going to talk a little bit about the ground segment. So, what do we have in the ground segment of this mission? Can you explain us a little bit?
Sure, of course. So the ground segments are composed of basically 2 parts. We have the laser constellation, the laser network, and we have the mission operations center. The mission operations center is, one of them is located at the laser network site, and another one is located with the headquarters of the whole mission, which is in New Zealand, as we already know.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes, and the mission operations center is basically responsible to operate the mothership that my colleagues talked about in the last episode. It is also responsible to get data in a few years back from the exoplanet, and it will also be monitoring and aligning the laser network into the direction of the mothership.
Okay, that's so cool. And what do we have in the ground segment? I heard that we have a laser, right?
Yeah.
A super potent laser. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, we do not only have one laser, we will have 76 lasers.
Wow, that's a lot.
That's a lot, and one of those lasers will be 2 kilometers in length, and they will all be 500 meters in width. So yeah, it will take a lot of area.
Wow.
And they are highly powerful lasers.
Okay. So they are dangerous.
They will for sure be dangerous. Yes. Not only to humans, also to animals and to other satellites in orbit, in LEO, in GEO, for example. Yes, but it's necessary for this mission, we need the power.
It's an essential part of the mission.
Yeah, it is. Without laser, there will be no power and the mission cannot even take place.
Okay, that's very interesting. Wow. And how will a laser be used in this mission?
Mm-hmm. So,
can you go a little bit deep into this?
Sure.
Thank you.
I will try to explain it. So there are different types of lasers. There are solid state lasers, gas lasers, free electron lasers, for example. And for our mission, we are using the free electron lasers, just because it's the most powerful laser that exists in the world. and it is currently used by institutions and universities for research purposes only, whereas solid-state lasers or gas lasers are used to hair removal, tattoo removal, for example. But yeah, we will focus on FELs, free electron lasers.
Wow.
And
yeah, because we need to arrive to Alpha Centauri.
Yes,
so
exactly.
It has to be a super powerful
Super powerful, and one of those lasers will output a power of 5 gigawatt.
Okay.
For the whole mission, to send one probe to 20% the speed of light, we need 380 gigawatts.
Wow.
So if you do a quick calculation, we need, what I said, 76 lasers to reach 380 gigawatts of power.
That's a lot.
That is a lot. And so the free electron lasers, they basically have an electron accelerator built in, which is why they are 2 kilometers in length, because you need the electrons to be accelerated through a certain length.
Okay.
And then they also have some magnets built in. And
inside of the laser.
Inside of the lasers.
Okay.
And you accelerate the electrons through this magnetic field. And in this magnetic field, the electrons start to move around. Let's put it like this.
Yeah.
And
in an easy way.
In an easy way. And they will emit the energy basically, and then you can. Well, you do not see the laser because it will operate in 1 micrometer, so it's not visible.
And just explain us what is 1 micron.
So, micrometer describes the wavelength of the laser.
Okay.
And of light in general. So, for example, light in the wavelength between 400 and 700 nanometers, so I'm talking about nano and not micrometers here, would be visible to the human eye. So this is why we can see colors like green, red, blue, yellow.
Oh, that's very interesting. Good to know, thank you.
It's good to know also because people would think if you don't see the laser, it cannot harm people, for example. But it can. And it maybe also will if we don't take precautions and if we don't avoid human interference while firing this laser, because it can have serious damaging effects on the retina, on the back part of the eye, and also on your skin.
Yeah, on your skin.
So,
that's what I was thinking.
Yes, exactly.
Because it's so powerful, so wow.
It's incredible. We have never
kill you in the moment, right?
Yeah. It is also a dual-use technology, so that's where other problems occur.
Oh yeah.
Like legal problems.
Yeah, I can imagine a lot of legal problems, right?
Yes.
Because the dual-use technology could have like civil uses, like it is this laser, but at the same time it could have like military purposes.
Exactly.
So it could be very dangerous, and yeah, we should need a super hard like regulation and legal framework.
Yes. That's necessary. That's important for that. And also regarding the location where we will put the lasers, it would be in the Atacama Desert in Chile.
Oh, in Chile, that's great.
And Chile has a few of the most important environmental laws in place. Or I'm not sure, you're the expert in laws. I'm not sure if those are actually laws or just requirements, regulations.
Yeah, it's pretty flexible.
Yeah.
In order to do this kind of projects, huge projects.
Yeah. This would be flexible, but another problem is also concerning the laser. If we want to have an output power of 380 gigawatts, we would also need at least this amount of input power. So one big question and one challenge that we're still facing is how to generate that much amount of power.
Wow.
And initially we were thinking of using a nuclear power plant.
Nuclear power is pretty dangerous.
It is dangerous.
On Earth and on space.
Yes.
Which is forbidden in space. But
and it is also not very welcome in Chile. So that is why we are also thinking about nuclear fusion or fission.
Okay.
But those are two methods that still needs a lot of development in the future. So we're not quite sure yet how to generate that much power.
Wow, that's a big question and also an important solution that we need.
Yeah, we need it.
Okay, so talking about challenges, I am thinking that probably there is much more challenges, right, with the laser, with the ground segment of this mission. Can you tell us a little bit more other challenges that the laser could face?
For sure. So I've been talking about the power generation, power storage would be another one. How do you store 300 gigawatts of power? Like,
Wow.
nobody's doing that right now. We do not know how to store it. And then there is also an issue of the time that we want to use the laser, because those free electron lasers that are used in institutions and universities right now, they were used for a few seconds, not even seconds, femtoseconds, nanoseconds, so
Wow.
really for a short amount of time.
Okay.
And we do not know what will happen if we are using them for 12 minutes, as we are planning to do. So
Which
you
is
can
the
imagine
time we need to push the...
exactly,
okay.
exactly. I was going to say that you can
And
imagine
also a huge challenge, sorry that I interrupt you, but it could be like the orbital window, right? Like the window, the
Yes.
12 minutes that we need, that there should be nothing in the
Yes,
sky, because
exactly.
the laser could destroy everything. Like could destroy a satellite, could destroy the International Space Station, could destroy everything.
yeah, airplanes that are crossing by. So yeah, we have to work together with the government, with air traffic monitors, with agencies,
Okay.
to avoid airplanes, for example, in this 12 minutes that we are firing the laser.
And do you think that's possible?
This, I'm sure this will be possible. Yes.
Okay.
With some regulations, yes.
You're pretty positive.
I am. The thing that might not be possible is to see that there are no satellites in the path of the laser.
Yeah, because they are orbiting in the orbit, and
All the time,
you can
yes.
stop a satellite who goes, like the International Space Station, for example. I think it goes at 4 kilometers per second, right? So
Yeah.
stop the ISS for
It's not possible.
for 12 minutes.
No.
Like, wait, we need like you to stop because the laser is going.
Yeah, and it's not even 12 minutes, because 12 minutes is how long it takes to propel one spacecraft, only one probe. But we plan to to accelerate 4 probes daily. So we would need 12 minutes of firing, 10 minutes of cooling, because with that much power you also have a lot of heat going on, and the laser would need to calm down.
Yeah, the times
And
are
then
important.
We start again, 12 minutes firing, 10 minutes cooling, and then we do it twice.
Wow. So approximately like around 1 hour, we could need like the clean space, like the clean sky.
We are planning to use 2 hours.
2 hours.
Yes.
Oh my god.
And it's just not possible to stop satellites for 2 hours.
That's
or
impossible.
Yeah.
So this is a huge challenge in the whole mission. Like
Yes.
not only with the lasers, it affects to everything.
Everything, yeah. Also, interestingly, birds, or like animals, flying animals that are crossing the laser beam. I mean, it has been suspected that birds would kind of feel that there is something,
Going on.
there is an interference, on their way. But it is not sure if they would actually avoid that frequency, that interference, or if they would still kind of crush into the laser beam and then...
Do you think that breakthrough initiatives with breakthrough Starshot, which is the main mission, right, in which we are inspired, so do you think that they tested like this laser, how this laser could affect to animals or to birds or to planes, or also are they in a lack of information in this aspect?
So I know that Breakthrough Starshot, they are not planning to use free electron lasers.
Okay.
They are planning to use lasers that are commercially available. So maybe those type of lasers might not be as harmful as free electron lasers. I'm not sure about that. That's what my feeling is. But I believe that they did not test it on airplanes, because you cannot put humans to risk and to test it. There might be some studies about animals and how they interact with lasers, for example, but we just looked into a few of those. There are some studies, however, on atmospheric effects when a laser is traversing through the atmosphere.
Wow.
And this would also pose another challenge, but not as greater challenges like the power storage or power generation, because through the atmosphere, the laser beam.
How the laser behaves in the atmosphere, crossing the pressure that we have in the atmosphere.
Yeah, it's the pressure, also the molecules, the aerosols, the different layers. So the laser beam will for sure spread out a little bit.
Okay.
So if you imagine you have, let's say, a laser beam of 1 diameter, which is too big, but let's just say it like this, and you fire it through the atmosphere, it will for sure be 2 or 3 meters in diameter long. That's because of atmospheric turbulences, disturbances, atmospheric or thermal blooming is the most important effect for that one.
Okay.
So yeah, this, as I said, will be another challenge, but one of the
one.
Well, not as huge as the other ones, but still.
Everything is important in the mission.
Yeah.
Of course, it's a huge mission. It's a super challenging mission. So we need to be prepared in a lot of things that we already don't know about this kind of things.
Yeah, because nobody has ever done it. We would be the first one to do it. So
okay, that's impressive.
I'm still positive that everything will go well.
That's amazing, Jules. So Julia already explained us that the laser could be a huge challenge if it's in Atacama Desert in Chile. So I have a question for you. Have you thought of putting the laser into other places? For example, the moon or into space? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, that's a good question, a good point that you're touching on. We have, in fact, considered putting a laser on the moon or in space for the reason that there would be no atmospheric disturbances in there. We wouldn't have human interference, animals.
We could solve a lot of problems.
Yes.
Okay.
The only problem, or there are more problems.
There are always problems, oh my God.
There are, when it comes to space.
For sure.
So, for example, if we think about the moon, we do not have the infrastructure on the moon. So we would need to bring all the equipment, all the lasers, all the materials
and that could
to
be
the moon
super
first.
expensive, right?
Super expensive, and it will take a lot of time since we do not even have a moon base yet.
Exactly.
So we would also need workers there.
That maybe we could have there a moon base, and we could do in there the elements and what we need. Maybe it will be worth it, but
exactly.
not now.
Not now. It's not. And if we plan to start in 2036 with the mission,
it's impossible.
It's not possible.
It's just impossible. Okay.
Also on the moon, for example, the stones, the rocks, they are highly abrasive.
Moon regoliths?
Yeah, the regoliths, exactly.
Okay.
So those could damage the lasers or any other materials on the moon.
Can you explain us why is that dangerous for the laser or even for humans? Because I heard that about the astronauts who arrived to the moon, they had pretty much problems because of the moon regolith components or elements. Can you explain us?
Sure.
Thank you.
So the thing with those regoliths, with those stones and rocks on the moon, is that they are really sharp on the outside and they have pointed edges. So those rocks will basically stick to a lot of things.
Oh, wow.
So you can hardly get rid of those. And they also induce an electrostatic charge on some of the equipments that we would need on the moon.
Okay.
So all the materials we would have, they would be just charged negatively, and we cannot use them. We wouldn't be able to use them anymore. So we cannot actually operate the laser on the moon.
Okay. And one question that just come up: the rovers on the moon, right?
Yes.
Why they work if the moon regolith is an enemy for technology? Maybe are they protected or?
So the rovers are actually coated in some materials, in some protective materials that are avoiding those dusts. I mean, they cannot avoid the dust completely or the dust particles completely.
For sure.
Because some of them will still get onto the rover, but at least they have the rovers have kind of a protection that will at least not allow dust particles or stones to go into the most important hardware equipments, hardware devices on the rover itself, so that the rover can still operate.
That's great. But it's an enemy for the laser.
Yes.
For our laser. So, summarizing, Julia.
Why we're not building the laser on the moon is because we don't have the infrastructure there. We don't have any moon base there. We don't have workers there that could assemble the laser network. We have some really hard conditions as well, such as radiation from the sun, also galactic radiation, and we have the regolith, the lunar regolith.
Okay.
And of course we cannot just build a nuclear plant on the moon for power generation, which is another challenge.
Absolutely. And I'm thinking, related with the nuclear power that we need to launch the laser from the moon, like, of course there will be like legal problems and legal challenges, because it could be against like the Outer Space Treaty Article 4. It could be seen like against the useful purposes of the outer space. So it's another challenge.
Yeah, again.
Wow. And why about the space? Launching the laser from space.
Yes, we were also taking this into consideration, but again, we do not have the infrastructure there. We could send some things up there, materials, but then we would have to think about other lasers, because we cannot just put a 2 kilometer long laser, or 76 of those,
oh my God,
into space. That's not possible. And also it could harm the other satellites as well, because it would still be in space. It might be in the same orbit as other satellites, for example.
Are we talking from orbit or from deep space?
Oh, from orbit.
Orbit,
okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Deep space we didn't even think about, because that's the first deep space mission we are planning now, so we cannot just start from deep space to go further into deep space.
For sure.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about Earth orbits.
Earth orbit, okay. Okay. That if it could be possible in orbit, it will be in GEO, or what was you thinking?
We were thinking it would be also in GEO, as is the mothership, because we could have the distance would be smaller to the mothership, maybe. At least we can manage it to be smaller.
For sure.
And so we wouldn't need a lens, for example, to focus the laser. And in GEO, because there are less satellites than in LEO, for example, we would also not pose other harms or other danger to satellites.
For sure. Because if the laser could be on LEO, it will be affected like MEO and GEO satellites.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. Okay, thank you so much, Julia.
You're welcome.
And I wanted to ask you the last question. So we have talked a little bit about the laser network, but could you go a little bit deep into this topic? Like, how do you monitor the laser network?
So for the monitoring, for the operational part of this mission of the laser network, we will have 2 mission operation centers, as we call them, MOCs. One will be in Chile at the Atacama Desert, directly or close to the network, to the laser network.
Okay.
And the other one would be with the headquarters of our team
in New Zealand.
In New Zealand, exactly.
Okay.
The reason is because in New Zealand we can monitor the lasers remotely. So we will have full-time employees sitting there, watching the lasers, seeing if everything is going according to plan. And if they notice an issue, a problem or anything like that, they can call the MOC, the Mission Operations Center in Chile.
Okay.
And they can say, hey guys, we've got a problem here, could you please check laser number 37 or something like that.
Okay, that's great.
And then we would need people in the Atacama Desert to actually go and check on that laser, and maybe some components need to be exchanged.
For sure, or repaired. Yeah, exactly.
So that's why we decided to have basically 2 MOCs.
Okay, that's a very smart idea.
Yeah, and we also need at least one of the MOCs to process the data we will hopefully gain
for sure
when the mission is completed. Yes,
fingers crossed. That's great.
Yeah, to
That's
process
great.
the data, to monitor the mothership, to align the lasers into the right direction.
And why Atacama Desert in Chile? Why is this location useful for us? Can you explain us?
Yes, there is just one reason, I would say, really, is because that Proxima Centauri, the star system, is located or is seen from the southern hemisphere only from Earth. And so we had to look into countries on the southern hemisphere, such as, well, Chile, New Zealand, Australia,
South
Africa,
America, Australia,
exactly.
like the south.
Yes.
Okay.
So we had to decide on one of those countries. And because with Australia and also with New Zealand, the cultural sides, they would not appreciate to have new technologies kind of destroy their lands or take usage of their lands.
Absolutely.
And in Africa, there is just not the right infrastructure, I would say, given.
Yeah.
So that's why we decided as a team to go with the Atacama Desert. Also because it's on a high altitude, so it's above 2,400 meters above sea level.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And that way we can also avoid some of the atmospheric effects between the laser and
Yeah, I heard that a lot of technological initiatives are thinking in located that initiatives in Atacama Desert So we need these huge places in which you can put these pioneering and harmful technologies, and we need that space.
Yes.
So I think it's a very smart decision, the location you choose. So thank you so much, Julia, for being with us today. It was very interesting, the conversation we had.
Yeah, thank you. It's the same for me. And thank you for the invitation again.
So as you said, the mission has a lot of challenges and hard ones. So the laser is one more. But we could do it.
Yes.
I think we could do it.
I'm still very optimistic for this mission.
We have to be positive like Julia.
Yes.
Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
And see you in the next podcast.